All right, I think we're ready. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Alencia Bowen, and I am the Dean of the Ross College of Business and the Executive Director of the Franklin University Leadership Center, where it is our goal to inspire and create a sharing of knowledge and innovative leadership practice through advanced teaching and transformative learning. We're happy that you have joined us here tonight, and I know that you will enjoy the presentation that we'll have. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it into the hands of Brad.
Hello, my name is Brad Coker. I am the chair for the exercise science and sport management programs here at Franklin University. Really quickly, I just want to point you to can you go back to the one slide? Yep, thank you. Just point you really quickly to the slide. My email is there. Later on in the chat question portion, I will actually put it in the chat as well. Should you have any questions at all about the sport management or exercise science programs at Franklin, or questions about tonight's event, you can email me directly and I will get back to you through that email. Before we get to tonight's guest speaker, who I'm extremely excited about, I want to take a minute just to kind of introduce you to our amazing sport management and exercise science programs. I feel very blessed to be overseeing each of these programs at a university that cares so deeply about each individual student. Our programs are uniquely designed with each student in mind, specifically focused on the connection of the classroom and the career. Not only is our curriculum building our students' knowledge of the sport, exercise, and wellness industries, but we also use co-curricular events, very similar to tonight's Get in the Game program, to enhance students' classroom experience. Co-curricular learning also allows the student to begin to build a network within the sports industry. With both programs being fully online, it gives an advantage to our students and our academic majors that are built for the diverse learner. We have traditional, we have non-traditional students. We are perfectly set up for adults that are looking to earn their degree while working a full-time job, or maybe a professional that is looking to potentially change careers or maybe grow in their own field. The pandemic has created new opportunities for online learning, and maybe a traditional student now is looking for an online opportunity. Our programs are great for that as well. Our programs are built to meet each type of learner and lead them to the careers in the sport industry of their choice. Sport and exercise careers are very wide ranging, as you may or may not know, depending on why you're here. If you're a student of ours and you're here tonight, you know, and you're still possibly trying to figure out what pathway you want to take. As you can see on the screen right now, is listed a very wide grouping, but very possible group of careers that are existent in the sport management industry in the sports field. On the next slide, you're going to see very similar a group of exercise science careers. These careers are wide ranging, as I said before, anywhere from athletics coach to entrepreneur, owning your own business, physical therapy, athletic training, and then on the sport management side, from ticket sales to eventually becoming, growing through the professional sports field, coaching, athletic administration. These are all potential careers from the exercise science and sport management programs. So enough from me. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight for our Get in the Game series. I want to pass it over to our Executive Vice President, and Provost, Dr. Washington, so he can introduce our special guest, Luke Fedlam, tonight. Dr. Washington?
Thank you so much, Brad. I am very excited about our new sports management programs. They relate to a number of career opportunities, as was noted earlier. And I'm especially proud of Brad Coker, Professor Coker, for providing students career-related co-curricular experiences. You should consider it a bonus that you get a chance to do this and learn about the various aspects of careers. This is very important. So please join me in expressing appreciation to Professor Coker. We all know the story of the kid who becomes a superstar athlete, who makes it big in professional sports, who wins games, gains a lot of fans, accumulates a lot of wealth, and only to lose it all too soon, right? Being an athlete comes with a lot of psychological ups and downs, social challenges, and great social and economic potential if one knows how to manage their affairs. Luke Fedlam, ladies and gentlemen, is an attorney who is a partner with his law firm, Porter Wright, Morris, and Arthur, where he leads the sports law practice group. He advises student athletes who are transitioning into professional sports, professional athletes who are navigating the life on a pro sports team and everything that comes with that, and retired athletes who are really working to create their game plan for life after sports. Luke serves on the board of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. He is president of the Distinguished Central Ohio chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, which I have to mention because I also served as president of chapter many years ago. So Luke, I'd like to have you, ladies and gentlemen, join me. Luke Fedlam to our stage as our.
Excellent. Thank you so much, my brother, Dr. Washington. Thank you so much, sir. And to everyone at Franklin University, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to say, and I kind of got some brief chat permission if I want to do this. If you want to turn on your camera, please feel free. It is great and okay by me. Don't feel like obligated. I understand how it can be challenging sometimes that we all have a million different things going on. But if you want to turn on your camera, please go ahead and turn it on. So I just want to say, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for allowing me to just share truly what is my life's passion. And that is the education and protection of others. And it just so happens that those others in my life are athletes, professional, college athletes, and the work that I get to do every day, I absolutely love. So I'm going to share some thoughts. I'm going to share some experiences that I've had. I'm going to share kind of what I do, how I do what I do, how I got to where I am. And then I think we're also going to have some time for Q&A. So please don't hesitate to send your questions, through the chat. I think Brad is going to facilitate that when we get to that conversation. But first, I love to have the opportunity to share about the shoulders that I have the fortune to stand upon in the work that I do. There are so many that I could name that I get to thank in person, but there are others that I don't necessarily get to thank in person. And with it being Black History Month, I especially love taking the time to make that recognition. And in my world, one of the people who I get to stand on the shoulders because of the work that they did, from a Black History Month perspective, I want to take a minute to just recognize the work of one of my fraternity brothers, Charles Hamilton Houston. And I bring up Charles Hamilton Houston for a host of reasons tonight. He cared deeply about education. He was the dean of the law school at Howard University in the 1930s and 40s. He was a graduate of Amherst College. He served as an officer in the Army in World War I. He was a graduate of Harvard's law school, and he took the opportunity to be a professor and the dean of the law school at Howard University, training up, mentoring, teaching, educating a generation of Black attorneys who would go on to dismantle the Jim Crow era through the court system to allow me to have the opportunity to be a lawyer that has the job of working to educate and protect others throughout this country. So I am thankful for that opportunity of my fraternity brother, of Charles Hamilton Houston, who truly made an impact. The fact that he was able to recognize that education in particular was the cornerstone of this Jim Crow South, and that if he could crumble that cornerstone of this separate but equal world that Plessy versus Ferguson in the Supreme Court had created, that he knew that even though he didn't get to see Brown versus Board of Education in the final ruling by the Supreme Court, that he trained up lawyers like Thurgood Marshall who could fight that fight and know that education would make that change. That to me is American history. And that is an individual that I have to provide thanks to, because I believe that education continues to be that cornerstone of change. And so the opportunity to share these conversations like tonight and to further share how important education is, I'm thankful. So with that being said, let me share a little bit about kind of who I am, what I do, all that good stuff. So I am a protector of possibilities. I know that sounds like branding, that sounds like marketing, but I share with you that I focus on protecting the possibilities of others. It's easy to say I'm a lawyer, but a lawyer is not who I am. That's not what defines my existence, right? I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, I'm a sibling. Like there's so much more to who I am that I really like to say that I'm a protector of possibilities. And so what does that look like? For me, as I mentioned before, I care deeply about education and protecting others. So what I get to do every day at the law firm is protect the possibilities that athletes have. So I'm a partner. I lead our firm's sports law practice, and I get to work daily with individual professional athletes as a non-agent sports attorney. So I'm not an agent. I've never wanted to be an agent, to be honest with you. I've never really kind of had that desire. What I love doing is really serving as a general counsel for athletes. So I work with athletes across sports, the WNBA, the NBA. I've got a client in the G League right now who's going through the high school to the pros pathway process. Work with Major League Baseball players, with hockey players, and Major League Soccer as well. Work with professional men's and women's basketball players around the world who are playing internationally. I feel like I have the best job on the planet because I get to work with them every single day on all of the matters that mean something to them. Estate planning and protecting their assets, tax issues that arise, real estate transactions that they want to get involved in, business ventures that they want to launch or that they want to invest in, real estate deals that they want to be a part of, anything that they're going to sign their name to. I review their agent agreements, their marketing and endorsement deals. So to give you a sense of what's going on right now, today, yesterday, I'm working on football players who are transitioning from college into the pros, and they're training right now for the NFL Combine and for pro days so that they can enter the NFL draft here coming up in a couple months. And then basketball players, having a lot of conversation with the parents of college basketball players as they get ready next month when March Madness ends to begin to declare for the NBA draft, which I think all of us are still waiting to see when that actually will be due to the pandemic and the adjusted NBA schedule this year. That's the work I get to do on the legal side every single day. It's always something different. To give you a sense, was dealing with an international professional basketball player who is playing in China. Had this call today where the player's playing in China. He is trying to do a joint venture deal that's based on U.S. law and a joint venture in the U.S. with partnering with a company from Canada, whereby the company's providing the intellectual property. He's going to be coordinating the manufacturing in China, and we're going to be dealing with U.S. law. Bringing all that together is the exciting part of what I get to do. My job in that is to make sure that the athlete is protected, that his interests are protected in this matter, right? And it's those kind of things that get me all worked up, right? It's the excitement of trying to figure out the complexities in life so that we can protect these athletes, because these athletes have the opportunity to make a positive impact on themselves, their families, and their communities. And yet, when we look at the statistics, we know that 78%, and this is a bit of an old statistic, but there hasn't been a new research study yet done. This was done about 10 years ago, but it said that 78% of NFL players are broke or experiencing financial distress within 2 years of when they finish playing. In the NBA, it's within 5 years, 60% are experiencing financial distress or are broke. I want to change those numbers. I want to change that. And it comes from protecting them so they're not taken advantage of by other advisors. And it comes from educating them. So in doing this work every day, I start to see trends. I start to see what's happening in the industry. I see how athletes are, how people try to take advantage of them. I see the deals that people try to send them. I see the paperwork. And so often it's trash, right? And so they just want to get the athlete involved. They want to get the athlete's money. They want to use the name of the athlete to do something. And so because I see these trends, about 3 or 4 years ago, I started a company called Anomaly Sports Group. AnomalySportsGroup.com if you want to learn more about it. But Anomaly is focused strictly on education. All right, remember I talked about education and protection. And so I use Anomaly to educate athletes in groups, right? So we don't provide legal services. We provide education and consulting around developing curriculum that can help focus on providing real world practical education to athletes, because that's how they can protect themselves, right? I could list off statistics all day, right? At the college level, less than 2% of college athletes are going to go professional and play professional in their sport. But 52% think that they're in that 2%, right? I don't care how many math classes you've taken, those numbers don't work, right? So we know that there are athletes that are going to leave school and they're not going to be playing professionally. And so we want to make sure that they get this education that can be beneficial to them long after they leave their college or university. So we work with different athletic departments to provide personal and professional life skills training and programming. We work with the NBA, and we've been doing their G League rookie orientation program. We've worked with various NFL teams. This year just did the rookie programs for the Las Vegas Raiders, for the LA Chargers. And we really want to help take what we see on a daily basis of how athletes are taken advantage of, translate that into workshops, into presentations, conversations that we can have so that ultimately we can protect them through the education that they so richly deserve and that they very much need in their lives. So that's kind of more color commentary, if you will, in terms of kind of what I do, kind of what my day-to-day looks like. Because one of the most common questions I get is, what does your day look like? No 2 days for me are the same. Oftentimes I find myself with international clients getting on middle of the night conference calls. Sometimes when I have domestic clients who get into trouble in the middle of the night, we deal with those as well. But it's really to be there to help make sure that as best as possible, we can protect them. So how did I get here? How did I even get to this this career? I had no plan growing up to become a sports lawyer. I wanted to be the president of the United States. And when I say that, I mean that. I was about 9 years old when Jesse Jackson in the late 80s decided to run for president, that I remember taking ebony magazines that we had and cutting out pictures, putting them on my wall, thinking, wow, a Black person wants to run to be president of the United States. I want to be president of the United States. So I started doing research. I looked up to see what careers did people have before they became president. I saw that so many of them were lawyers. So I said, you know what? I think I want to be a lawyer so that ultimately I can be president of the United States. And I tell you that not as a young kid who says, I want to be a police officer or a firefighter. And then the next day they want to be an astronaut, right? Or a teacher or whatever it may be. I said that, no, like I wanted to be president of the United States. I went to college saying, I want to major in political science. I want to end up working for a little bit, go on to law school, and I want to become president of the United States. I left college saying, I want to be president of the United States. So this isn't something that was like, oh, just kind of whatever. No, that was what I wanted to do. And so I said, I think I want to do corporate law as a pathway to understand like economics and to understand the impact of capital markets, et cetera. So that really is what I wanted to do. Now, I will tell you, since then, my desires have most definitely changed as I've seen kind of the reality of this kind of partisan world that we find ourselves in. But nevertheless, that's what got me to the path of wanting to even become a lawyer. So I'm originally from upstate New York. I went to Wake Forest University for undergrad, political science major, as I said. And then I knew I wanted to work for a year or two and then go on to law school. So I took an opportunity at an investment firm in Philly. I will share this with you that when I started at that investment firm in Philadelphia, I knew no one. I knew no one in the city of Philadelphia. And by the way, don't forget, I was a political science major. I took 0 business courses, 0. They were looking for diversity in their ranks. They wanted to, and not just like racial diversity, they were looking for diversity in terms of majors. They didn't want to keep hiring finance majors. They wanted people to think about things differently and challenge kind of the status quo. And so they were hiring biology majors and all these different majors. So I was like, if they want me, oh, absolutely, let's go. So I go to this investment firm with a plan of being there for a year and then going to law school. 1 year turned into 5 years. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I was learning a ton. And I ended up getting recruited from there to Miami, Florida to work at a sports management startup of starting to work with athletes on the financial side. Now, mind you, I had no desire to work with athletes, but they caught me with 2 things. Number one, I got the offer in March after a particularly harsh winter in Philly, and they said, come move to South Beach. I said, I like that. I would happily move to South Beach. And number 2, it was this idea of working with athletes to try to help them on the financial side. And so it was taking my learnings of what I'd been doing in the financial world and taking it to athletes. I started doing that, and I was there for about 3 years. One piece of the story that I left out was that I graduated from undergrad in 2001 in May. I started at the investment firm in June of 2001, and then 9/11 happened that September. It affected me as it affected the entire country and indeed the world in different ways. And I'd always wanted to serve in the military. So I took the opportunity to join the Army National Guard. We had a heavy military officer recruiting program at the investment firm I was at. So they were incredibly supportive of me doing that. I went off to basic training, went off to officer school, kept my job, continued to work and do both, do that, weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, build my career. And so if I fast forward back to where I was at the investment firm in 2009, I got called into a year of active duty. It was during that time that I really, if I'm being authentic and transparent with you all, my wife and I had our son, our firstborn son, who was born premature, ended up passing away. Lived for 7 days, was one of the most devastating experiences I had in my life. And it was at that point in my life that I really questioned a lot of things. And I said, life is not promised. Up until that point, you feel invincible. Up until that point, I felt like Superman, right? Like if I put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. We're going to make it work. That was something where it was out of my hands and out of my control. And so it was at that time where I said, what do I want to do with my life? What this is this inflection point where, I've got this time where I'm on active duty for a year. At that point, I'd always wanted to be a lawyer. I'd always wanted to go to law school. Now's the time. So ended up coming here to Ohio State for law school. And the rest, as they say, is history. And I do have the opportunity to do what I do now. So that's a little bit about how I got here. Here's the point. And if you remember back to the slide that Brad showed earlier about the sports management program and exercise science, there was the image of the 2 athletes with all these words, right? The word clouds of all these different careers that you could have in sports. I talk to so many people. I speak on a lot of panels, and to hear the story of how people got to where they are, it's all different. And I encourage you to remember that, There are so many different paths to having a career in sports because there are so many opportunities that you can have in sports. Marketing, accounting, finance, development, technology, social media. I mean, I could spend the rest of our time together just listing off careers you could have. And the pathway is different. What I always encourage people when they're thinking about their career and what's next and where do I go? What's my next step? And they think oftentimes, especially coming out of college, of the money and what can I get for a salary? Don't get me wrong. I definitely have thought about that. And they also think about title, right? But don't forget, one of the things that a mentor told me early in my career is don't necessarily think about the job title or the money. Think about, because those are important, but think about the skills that you're building, the experience that you're getting, and how does that fit into the long-term plan, right? How does that fit into the long-term plan? And so when you think about this, I think about my career. I've had experience in finance, capital markets. I've been able to understand for athletes in particular, kind of what their experience has been like from a financial perspective as people try to present them with deals and all these opportunities. And it really galvanized in me this desire to want to protect them so that they wouldn't become the statistics, so that they would become the anomaly, hence the name Anomaly Sports. And so that's where the education comes in. That's where I look back at where I'm at right now. And I'm fortunate that I have this opportunity where my passion and my profession have come together for this moment to be able to do the work that I do. It's because of the experiences, the skills, the network, the exposure that I've had throughout my career that have brought me to this place. A lot of times when I interview law students, I'm on our hiring committee at our firm, and when I hire or go through the interview process, a lot of times they'll do their due diligence, they'll do their research, and they'll say, "Oh, I see that you're, do sports law," and I talk, and they say, "I want to do what you do," and it's like this idea of like, I'm going to come out of law school, and on day one, I'm going to do what you do, and it's like, oh, let's pump the brakes a little bit. There's a lot of learning and experience and skill set development that comes with that. All right. But one of the things that I'll share with you about the industry, when people tell me that they are passionate about sports and that's why they want to do what I do, I want to dig into that. I always ask the follow-up. What about sports are you passionate about? Sometimes we'll get people say, "Oh man," and again, I'm not from Ohio. I've been here about 10, 11 years. A lot of times I get the response, "Oh, I love the Browns. And even when they're losing, I'm still with them. And look at them this year. They're going to do all these things," right? Or whatever their team is. Listen, that's great. That's fantastic. If that's where your passion is, hey, reach out to the Browns. Reach out to your team. Try to do something with your team, right? In what I do, I have the opportunity to work with all of these people in different teams and all that. My passion is not on the actual performance of sports. Don't get me wrong. I love my Eagles and I love my Knicks. I know the Knicks. It's been 20 plus years. I've had nothing to cheer for. I know. The Eagles at least brought me a Super Bowl a few years ago. We got rid of Wentz today. That's a whole other conversation. We didn't get enough for him. I don't want to get into it. It hurts. Okay. But I will tell you that I'm passionate about those things. But what I'm passionate about in my job is the opportunity that I have to protect the possibilities that athletes have. My job every day is not to care about how many points they put up last night, but to make sure that this deal they want to sign is not written in a way that's going to take advantage of them or their family for generations to come. That's where my passion and excitement lies. So I encourage you to think about what is it that drives your passion. And if you don't know what your passion is right now, which is completely fine and normal, that's okay. Think about what excites you about the industry, the sports industry, whatever your industry is, what excites you. So I want to talk leadership for a couple minutes because again, hey, let's be honest, it's the Leadership Center at Franklin University that invited me to be here. They are the hosts of today. So I want to talk about leadership for a second. You've heard some of my story. I have been excited and desirous of leading since I was a kid. It's just something that was innate in me that runs through the fabric of my DNA. Now, I want to be very clear about something. Having a desire to lead doesn't always mean that you're in the top spot, right? There are certain instances where I want to be in the top spot. There are certain instances that through leadership and my leadership vision to be executed, to be like played out, the top spots required. But there are so many times that are in certain ways just as meaningful, if not more meaningful, where leadership comes from other places than the top spot. But what I bring to the table, what I encourage you to think about as you think about being that leader is, if you can't tell, energy. Yes, I bring energy. I do bring motivation. But I also bring a way of recognizing who I am and recognizing the strengths in others. How can we develop others? And when I think about the education and protection that I exude throughout my day-to-day of the work that I do with Anomaly and with the law firm, that education desire to make change is to lead families, to lead athletes, to lead them in a way that says, listen, I know that what you care about right now is the contract that you've signed, right? I know that that's what you care about. I know you care about your performance last night or this season. I know that you care most about, am I going to get this next contract? My job is to lead you, not as a cheerleader, but to lead you as an advisor to help you get to this next step, knowing that your sport is going to come to an end at a certain point. And I would not be doing my job if I was your biggest fan. I'm doing my job by helping to lead you through your career outside of your sport, right? The other thing that I'll share with you from a leadership perspective is to think. When I was in sixth, seventh grade, I had a teacher who had a sign above his doorway that said, think. That's all it said. When you would come in and go out of his classroom, it just said, think. I thought about a sign that said, think a lot, right? And one of the things that it's always stuck with me, because we as leaders, as people who want to see change in an industry, we need to think. And if I will tell you this, and that's why I had some conversations with Brad and others earlier, I'm excited that you all have a sports management program. I encourage you to develop that sports management program because sports are experiencing some of the most monumental shifts that we have ever seen in the history of sports, whether you're talking about the professional level or the college level or even the high school level, right? So let's talk about it real quick. Professional level, guess what? Esports is growing faster than any other sports right now. Esports. You've got companies that are coming in saying, hey, we're putting in gaming leagues at the NCAA level, right? Learfield IMG said, hey, we're going to run this esports league at the college level. You have colleges that are putting in esports majors, right? You have gamers. What's one of the biggest challenges that the traditional professional sports face, NFL, NBA, etc.? Globalization. They have been dealing with globalization for years, figuring out how do we make sure that we continue to grow our sport globally. So the NFL for the past number of years has had multiple games in London and Mexico City. The NBA, same thing. And in France, doing games last year in France and wanting to continue to do that. Obviously, this year is a bit different. But they're trying to globalize because they want that global audience. What does esports have instantly? A global audience. And the platform and the speed at which esports is growing is incredible. There is so much there, from cybersecurity to game development to managing the actual gamers to ensuring, the real estate side of this, right? Because this isn't just like a bunch of people in their basements, right, on their Xbox, like my son right now up in the loft, knowing that I'm on this call right now so he can play Fortnite as long as he wants to till I leave here and tell him to get off of that thing. And what I encourage him is, hey, listen, buddy, you want to play Fortnite and you want to talk V-Bucks? Let's talk about how V-Bucks work. By the way, he's 10 years old. And we have conversations because he's going through math and we're doing remote learning. And we're talking about how do you understand. Let's talk about what V-Bucks are. They're a fake currency that you pay real currency to have a fake currency so that you can do things like buy skins, right? Like, all right, sorry. If you can't tell, we have a lot of conversations about this at home, but these are the issues that are facing, right? Professional sports, globalization, NBA teams, they have their 2K teams now, right? They have their teams specifically for gaming. All right. So let's look at the college level. Oh my gosh, how much time do we have, right? Let's talk about name, image, and likeness. The biggest financial change coming to college sports since 1952, when they first offered sports scholarships to student athletes. Side note, little random trivia fact, 1952 is also the first year that the NCAA ever had a TV contract. It was with NBC, worth $1.24 million to broadcast some football games. That's grown to billions, whereas the student athlete, starting from that same year, still just gets that scholarship and maybe a little bit of a stipend here and there. That's another conversation for another webinar that we could have. But the financial impact that's coming is going to be big. And that's why you've got the Supreme Court about to weigh in NCAA versus Alston. You've got state legislatures that are weighing in. You've got Florida that's going into effect July 1st of this year. You've got 5 other states that have laws that have already been passed. You've got 32 other states that have name, image, and likeness legislation on the works, right? You've got Congress that wants to weigh in and multiple pieces of legislation that have been put forward. We'll see what actually comes out of it. And you've got the NCAA trying to come up with their rules, and they've pushed the ball down the field, pardon the pun, because they want because the Department of Justice came and said, hey, we think you might have some antitrust violations going on here, so don't come out with your name, image, and likeness vote just yet. Whew, that's at the college level, and that's just name, image, and likeness. You've also got potential gambling and gaming that's coming as the Supreme Court a couple years ago struck down some rules that allow states now to control this. And so you've got different states looking at how they can get involved in gaming and gambling. You've got the transfer portal, which could potentially create a free agency-like market in the college sports space. I mean, come on, college sports is going through monumental shifts. And that also leads then to high school, because the most recent legislation that Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut put forward on name, image, and likeness actually talks about that pre-enrollment phase where you've got high school athletes, and high school athletes will be able to be compensated off of name, image, and likeness. And if you think this is something that's just for elite athletes, let me tell you, it's not. I'm on TikTok more so because of the pandemic, and I wanted to learn because I kept hearing about it. And I actually really kind of like it as well. That's another story for another day. But I've already dealt with parents of high school players who have their young people, their kids that are getting deals and opportunities to make money based on their TikToks because they happen to have millions of impressions, not based on necessarily their sports ability. But even within the sports ability, you look at now new platforms like Overtime. If you don't know what Overtime is, it's basically like the YouTube for high school basketball and high school football. And they are everywhere. Look at AAU and what's happened with AAU at the high school level, right? And how when you think about money in sports, what's that one type of entity that's involved at all levels of professional, college, high school, and AAU sports? Apparel. Nikes, Under Armours, Adidas, etc. Right? So think about this. Sports are experiencing a monumental change. Why do I say all that? Why do I go down that path to share that with you? Think, right? Just like that sign, think. What are the challenges that are coming down the road that aren't even being dealt with right now that you have the opportunity to create your own point of view on, that you have the opportunity to research and think about and discuss so that when you come out into this industry, the industry is already ready for you because you have that knowledge and understanding. When I think about name, image, and likeness, I don't care about the branding side, right? That's not where I have spent my focus. Maybe a few weeks or whatever, after California really got serious about their Bill 206, where we looked, before it even passed, but when it looked like it was going to pass, that's when I started shouting from the mountaintop, as much as people are going to enter this space to get involved in finding deals for college athletes, I want to talk about the education of college athletes as it relates to name, image, and likeness. That's all I care about, education. At the time, people weren't really trying to hear it. They were just focused on the companies entering in the space, the Open Doors, the Influencer, CLC, Altius, and others who are focused on creating a marketplace to be that middle person between athletes and brands. Can I make money off of bringing brands to athletes? My focus says every single day I get to work with professional athletes where I see their marketing agent agreements, their player agent agreements, help negotiate marketing and endorsement deals. I know right now that when I'm dealing with these 20-somethings who have never experienced or dealt with this before, I can only imagine what it's going to look like with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and even potentially at the high school level, and their parents who want to protect their earlier teens from being taken advantage of, they're going to need this education too. So I've been shouting from the mountaintop about the education. Now that we've started getting closer, people want me on panels. People want me in working groups, want me to have and share in this conversation. I share that with you as encouragement to say, what are the challenges that are coming in the future? What are you doing to prepare yourself to think about it? And that's why I'm working with my son on that, right? As we talk about it, right? I'm trying to help him understand the business side of this game that he loves playing so much. You should have seen the lecture, and I will call it a lecture, that we had when Apple decided that they wanted to take Fortnite off of their platform because Fortnite was doing all the in-game purchases as opposed to people doing it through the App Store where Apple could then get their percentage, right? So he had to learn that because I want him to understand the issues that are affecting the industry down the road. So I share all that with you to help you understand that. I'm going to say a couple last tips, thoughts, and then let's get to Q&A because I want to hear what you have to say. Sometimes I get tired of hearing myself speak, which is why I get all fired up because I motivate myself as I'm speaking. But this stuff is important. So hopefully this is impactful to you. Some thoughts on leadership, some tips for you. Dive into your desired profession. Dive into it. Build relationships. Take the time as you dive into it, learn, understand, want to get as much out of it as you can. When I was in college, now this is when I feel so old when I say that, but I want to tell you that I am so young. I feel so young. But when I was in college, we didn't have LinkedIn. We didn't have a phone that had, more processing speed than the first, manned mission to the moon. Like we didn't have that. So if we had a speaker come, it was like, okay, it would be in person, walk down to the front of the room, try to get a couple minutes afterwards with them. And maybe you get a phone number or an email address that you could email them at, right? Now we get off of this. You can find me. You can find me on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find my email. I'll share with you my email, right? You have the opportunity to dive into your profession, build relationships. Take the time now while you're a student and people want to be even more helpful to students. Take the time to build those relationships and dive into your profession. Identify the areas of change that are affecting the industry that you want to be in, as I mentioned before. Learn about it and then share your point of view. You can you could read an article online, right? Pick an article. You could read it. You could go post it on LinkedIn. Put a little paragraph above it of your thoughts, of your point of view. Put some hashtags, sports business, sports biz, hashtag sports law, whatever, right? You'll find random people who then comment on what you're saying, right? This is powerful stuff, folks. This is how you establish your point of view in the industry, how you build relationships. Be your authentic self, right? Be comfortable in who you are, in your desire to want to learn. Right. I met with a law student. I'll share this and then I'll stop and take questions. I met with a law student probably about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I try to make time for students when they want to talk. I try to find time. It may not be right away, but I try to find time. And he was sharing with me some stuff, asking some questions that I could tell he would ask them and I would start to answer them. And before I was even started answering them, he's looking at his paper to find the next question to ask. And it just didn't seem like we were clicking. And I like to pride myself on clicking with people. And I stopped at about 10 minutes in. I said, I'm sorry. Help me understand, what is it that you want out of this 30 minutes that we have together? Like, what are you looking for? And he says to me, I don't know. People told me that I should talk to you because I like sports. I'm in law school as a first-year law student, first semester. I've nobody in my family who's been to law school or who's a lawyer. So I don't know what to expect and I don't even know what to ask, but I'm trying to do what I feel like people have told me I should do. I said to him, you should have led with that 10 minutes ago. Be your authentic self. When you take the time to expose and open yourself up to others, to share with them, I don't know all the right questions to ask, but I know I'm interested in this. I see that you did this. I don't know exactly what that means. Can you help me understand? It's that authenticity that will help you to progress throughout your career and be that leader. Even as a leader, whether I'm in the top spot or the back spot, I'm always comfortable in asking questions. I'm comfortable in being uncomfortable. And if you can do that, if you can find that level of comfort, That's what's going to help you drive your career and really make an impact in the lives of other people. And that's why we're all here. With that, Brad, I'm going to take a drink of water. But please do facilitate whatever questions we have. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be here and just share a bit of my heart with you all.
Thank you, Luke. I appreciate it. Get a drink, take a breath. Students, we're going to start with any students here, Franklin students that want to ask a question. Go ahead and drop that in the chat box. I will facilitate from there. We'll kind of give the first couple minutes here to our students first, and then follow it up with any of our faculty, staff, special guests from the community, alumni, or prospective students that are here from other schools. So any students, go ahead. While I'm waiting for them, Luke, I have name, image, and likeness. I had the NCAA basketball game with Ed O'Bannon. That was one of my first PlayStation games. And that case is one of the foundational cases for name, image, and likeness. Where do you see, or when can we expect to see some legislation for the NCAA moving forward and allowing student athletes to actually get something for the many years of not getting anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So two things. Number one, EA talked about how they're bringing the game back. So it's coming back, which is exciting. At first, they're not going to be having actual names of players and actual avatars of players at first, of actual players, but they will be doing that. And we're going to see that because of name, image, and likeness. So to your question, we are going to see some sort of legislation this year. And so that's why, so Florida, July 1st, Florida's name, image, and likeness law goes into effect in the state of Florida, July 1st. Iowa has a bipartisan support of a bill that if passed will go into effect July 1st. California, who's not supposed to go into effect until 2023, has said they are going to have an amendment to that bill 206 or law to make it come into effect this year. With these states moving forward right now, the NCAA has no choice due to, otherwise what's going to happen? Students are going to go to Iowa. They're going to go to Iowa State. They're going to go to schools in California. They're going to go to schools in Florida. And the NCAA all of a sudden is in the place where there's a completely misaligned competition. So I think, though, to your question, and I could spend so much time talking about this, but very briefly, I think it's going to have to come down to federal law. I think we're going to see federal legislation that's going to have to deal with this. And I know they're dealing with the economy and they're dealing with COVID, but if not, it's going to really affect college sports in a way that will be hard to see it come back from.
Yeah.
So this year, stay tuned.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it has a ways to go, but there is a question here, and actually, it's funny to watch name, image, and likeness actually be a fairly bipartisan. You have, Florida, who's led by Republican governor, right, and then you have California, which is obviously left leaning, and here they are being the front runners of this. So that's a good thing. And I only mentioned the politics because somebody asked here, why did you not pursue politics? You're a dynamic speaker, you're charismatic, and you could have maybe been our president.
Well, hey, you never know. Who knows? Who knows what retirement or whatever. Who knows? Right time, right opportunity. You never know. But I will say this, you just really got me excited because when you talk about politics and sports, I get even my mind gets blown, right? And what's really interesting is in the NCAA versus Alston case at the Supreme Court level, no one really knows what's going to happen. And the reason why they don't know is because it depends on how you look at the capitalism and the capitalistic nature of college sports, right? Because on the one hand, you've got conservatives who are always for the free market enterprise. And so you have this idea of saying, well, no, athletes should absolutely be able to make whatever they can make on their own. Let them make it, right? And then you've got, on the more liberal side, right, this idea of like being able to go and the same thing, right, have that opportunity with some protections and all that. So you can't really tell what the Supreme Court justices are going to do, and it's going to come down to how narrowly they define the question around potential antitrust violations as it relates to the compensation of student athletes. Mind you, this is the first time that the Supreme Court has actually even heard a case involving the NCAA since 1984, NCAA versus like the Board of Regents of Oklahoma. So, and again, that was an antitrust case. This is going to be monumental. That's getting heard March 31st, or oral arguments. And we're going to see in probably by the end of June, their ruling. And that is going to be powerful. But don't forget, the Supreme Court doesn't make law, right? They interpret and they decide, they make decisions. And so there's going to be a lot that happens this summer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a question from Shaman, I believe it is. I'm in Orlando and have worked behind the scenes for the Pro Bowl and some Magic games and soccer. And he's also a high school referee. I've seen the potential from these experiences. Any recommendations on how he can get involved?
Yeah, and this is for everybody. Reach out, build relationships, and ask how you can help. Right? Reach out, build relationships, ask how you can help. So as we talked about, different cities have all different types of ways to get some sort of sports experience. So you just listed off, right? Pro Bowl, Magic games, soccer, high school referee. You could look at most cities have a sports commission. So I'm on the board of our Greater Columbus Sports Commission that is tasked with bringing big sporting events to the city of Columbus and Central Ohio. So when you think Women's Final Four, you think the President's Cup in golf that we had back like 2013 or whatever it was. Think of those kind of, NCAA diving championships, USA volleyball championships, all that kind of stuff.
The Arnold, right?
What's that?
The Arnold.
Yeah, the Arnold. They
Yeah.
are always looking for volunteers for those kind of things, right? It's a great way to get in the door, because what you want is to get in the door so that you can build relationships and ask how you can continue to help. So that's without spending too much time on that, that's what I would say would be some great ways to get involved.
And I think from Alinda, she's kind of asking the same thing: is it best to start trying to get some type of experience in the sports industry during the pandemic? I think you kind of answered that. Absolutely. Anytime, right? You can reach out and connect. It might just look a little different. Maybe you're not interning, or maybe you're not at a sporting event, but maybe you're, making connections through LinkedIn, as you said.
Listen, I got to be honest with you. This is the time, like right now, like literally right now, right? So go online. I try to put, whenever I'm speaking on something, I try to promote it on Twitter or on LinkedIn or different things, right? To just promote it, to try to help whoever's, hosting it to have, more people involved. And when you do that, go search for stuff. See, look at the people I'm following, right? See, if you go to my LinkedIn and you see my people that I'm following or that are following me, see what are they speaking at? There are so many opportunities for these virtual environments. So even beyond if the pandemic causes challenge in terms of getting together in person, where there aren't as many opportunities for in-person gatherings, look at these virtual ones. I have done more speaking engagements in the last 11 months than probably maybe the 20 years of my professional career, maybe. Because multiple. This is my second one today, right? Did one yesterday afternoon that was incredibly powerful. Because it's easier for people, right? Because literally when I click the end or leave meeting button, the red button in the corner, right? I'm literally going to take this jacket off. I'm going to yell upstairs, Alan, get off the Xbox, right? And we're going to go about my day. So it's easier to be involved. So find out what those speaking experiences are, listen to what people are saying. Reach out to them on LinkedIn, differentiate yourself, because a lot of people do that. The speaking engagement I was on yesterday, I went onto my LinkedIn, I had 40 new messages from people, most of them were just, wanting to add me or whatever, but about 10 of them were like, hey, I heard you speak on this, whatever. differentiate yourself. Talk about what the speaker talked about. Talk about what you liked about it. Because guess what? If I'm going to take the time to read it, if I think you've just said something like impactful, like, great, I'm going to write back. I'm usually going to say thank you because my mother taught me to be a kind person, right? So anyway, I could go on and on about that, but let's go to some more questions.
Yes. We have a question. When it comes to gambling, do you see all states moving forward with legalizing online and in-person betting? We've seen lots moving that way. Ohio's a little bit behind, right? Some of the states, we have Pennsylvania, neighboring state. I believe Indiana's moving that way. Like, what comments do you have about, sports gambling?
Yeah. I would never say never. I mean, I think we're all smart enough not to do that, but I don't see all states deciding to move forward. I think that there are going to be some challenges that come up, just like when there are discussions around casinos and in-person gambling and betting, right? What impact does it have on society, right? Those broader questions of, is it taking advantage of people who are going to potentially lose what they have, right? So we all know, just like how we talked about, Florida leans this way and different states lean that way. States are going to take the stance that they kind of take along this socio-political, socio-economic kind of perspective, right? So I don't think all states are going to. Now, what does that mean? So it means with online gambling that it's going to be like, checking your IP address and all that kind of stuff. Where is it coming from? What state does your IP address come from? Again, if you're thinking about this, like I talked about before, think about the cybersecurity. Think about the development of apps where people can be comfortable with this. Now, keep in mind, Europe has been doing this for a long time, right? Europe, you can go to a soccer match, you can sit in the stands, go get yourself a pint, and on your way to go get the pint, you place a bet on something, a prop bet or something like that that's happening on the field. They have a lot of experience with this. We don't. And I think we're going to learn a lot from what they're doing in Europe. But I think it's going to take people here, thinking about what those issues are, dealing with how gambling is going to affect college sports. What's going to be the oversight? How are we going to ensure that games, right, aren't getting in any way, kind of skewed one way or the other because of gambling and betting? We have so much when it comes to data analytics right now in sports that we'll be able to tell, people will be able to tell, but that data information is going to be so critically important in the development of the sports space. And on top of that, let's talk about a legal question there. Who actually owns that data? Right? Is it the team? Is it the individual? Is it the device maker? Right? I mean, these are the questions that we're going to be grappling with as we constantly download apps on our phone because we want to have our Fitbit and we want to have our Apple Watch and we want all this access to information. Wow, what about all that data? What about Siri eavesdropping on me all day, every day, or Alexa trying to eavesdrop on me, right? These are issues that are facing not just our society, but sports in particular.
Any other questions as we come towards the end of our evening here? Is there any questions? I think, let's see, Renee.
Sure.
Go ahead, Cecil.
Yeah. Hey, Luke, how are you?
Good, brother. It's good to see you, my friend.
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. Hey, just 2 or 3 years ago, do you think professionals, that is attorneys, advisors, coaches, and even student athletes, just 2 or 3 years ago, do you think even they anticipated that college athletes would be able to own their own intellectual name, image, likewise properties?
Just 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, just 2 or 3 years ago. Do you think that they anticipated it?
2 years ago, yes. 3 years ago, less likely. 4 years ago, no.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, that's how fast, right? That's how fast it happens. And when you have, California and their state legislature making moves, and then you have LeBron James and others promoting that and encouraging that and helping to see that through, okay, change can happen quickly. And let's not get it twisted, right? And I play nice because I do some work with the NCAA and with, obviously member institutions, but I also am very honest in my assessment. The NCAA was not going to come out and just on its own accord say, hey, we think student athletes should start getting compensated. I can guarantee you that was not going to happen. But because of state legislature, boom, now everything has to move to catch up. So yeah, that stuff can happen very, very quickly.
Okay. Oh, thanks. And great presentation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, so we have two
go
last
ahead.
questions here. Yeah, we have one from Renee, and she says, in your experience, does someone who enjoys educating others on inclusion have a place in the sports world? I enjoy a healthy change or evolution in inclusion and diversity, and does the behind the scenes of sports, are they open to this?
Renee, thank you for turning on your camera so that I can look you in the face when I say this. Yes, yes, yes. And again, I say yes, right? Listen, if you look at what's happening right now, the biggest issues that college athletic departments, let's talk college level first. College athletic departments, the biggest issues they're dealing with right now, because guess what? They keep trying to push off on name, image, and likeness because they can, right? They've been given the ability to not have to worry about it right now. They're dealing with two issues. They're dealing with COVID and the impact of COVID to their financial bottom line, to the health and safety and welfare of their student athletes. And they're continuing to deal with issues of diversity and inclusion. Because in the summer of 2020, we all sat glued to our television for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and watched the death of George Floyd. We have student athletes who were marching, who were protesting, who were disagreeing with the stance that their coaches were taking on certain issues around race, ethnicity, diversity, inclusion. Think about that, right? Think about, for the first time, you have parents in recruiting processes, during the recruiting process, asking football coaches, what's your stance on politics? Because we've just come out of a different type of time in our experience. And what's your stance on racial issues? We had a coach, a strength coach, who was challenged by African-American student athletes at the University of Iowa, right, for saying racist things and whatnot, getting hired by, Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. That employment lasted for a day, right? So let me tell you, one of the probably fastest positions or responsibilities that I've seen growing at the college and professional level right now is DE&I. Without a doubt. If you look now, here's what they're doing at the college level, and I don't like it. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to articulate it to the people when I have audience with them. Oftentimes at the college level, what they're doing is just giving additional responsibilities, right? So it is, this person happens to be our associate athletic director for student athlete development. Hey, guess what? You're also now our DE&I person as well. We're starting to see at the professional level much more positions, chief DE&I, chief diversity officers. So I would spend some time, go in there. Kevin, what's Kevin's last name for the Cleveland Cavaliers, one of the first. Look him up. If you want me, reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you with him if you want to learn more about what he does. You can look at, like, Dallas Mavericks have somebody. So not all the teams, the Atlanta Hawks have somebody. So there are a handful of teams and more teams because of what our country has experienced and has experienced. Absolutely. So yes, as I'm looking at you, yes, that place exists, and they need people who care just as much about DE&I as they, actually more about DE&I than they do about sports in particular, to come in and help their student athletes, help their professional athletes, help their coaches and their front office people manage and deal with issues of inclusion.
Awesome. Great response. I see Alex has a question. I'm going to send that on to you because of time here. Dr. Heckman can wait for a response on that. But I just want to thank Luke, and I'm going to pass it over to Alencia here in a second, but thank you again for agreeing in your busy schedule. As you've mentioned, you're doing a podcast and all kinds of stuff, not to mention, working a full-time job, multiple full-time jobs, and being a parent. So thank you for spending, the better part of an hour tonight with us. I really appreciate it. And wonderful job. Alencia, I will let you close us out for the evening, and I appreciate the platform we had. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yes, it's a very exciting night. Lots of questions are still showing up in the chat. As Luke shared, just reach out to him on Twitter. Try to reach out to him. His information is available out there. So if you've enjoyed this night with us, please look forward to additional nights with us. We will be having our launch of our Distinguished Sales series beginning on February 24th. So please register online as well. And then on Thursday, February 25th, we'll be having um, Colonel Douglas Wheelock of a NASA astronaut coming to talk with us about leaning into the future of work. And then lastly, in March, we'll be having our Women in Public Safety. March is the Women's Histories Month, and so we'll be starting off with that as well. Thank you all very much and great discussion. Luke, thank you for giving us your all. We have taken away some great tidbits, and I know one thing, I'm just going to dive into my desired profession. Watch out, world, here I come.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Yes. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all. Take
Thank
care.
you.
You guys
Yeah.
might see me for that NASA conversation. Watch out, because that sounds interesting.
It is interesting. Please, please, your brother can tell you about that, or either your sister right here. So